Bruce, did you at all raise your eyebrows when you saw West Virginia 6th in the Big 12, considering, they go 7-2 a year ago and Will Greer factor being what it is?
I did. I was in Morgantown. I think their starting 22, I think, is going to be really good. Now, when you look at it on paper, without David Long early in the year, they're going to be down to 2 starters. Now, obviously, you get the guy who would have been their best player last year, missed all last season. He's going to help their secondary. I think Tony Gibson's proven he's about as good a defensive coordinator as in the conference. Will Greer should have a big year in this offense. You got 2 really good tackles. I think on paper, to me, they would have been my number 3 team. But, I get when you look and only see 2 returning starters, or at the time 3. I can see why there's a little bit of skepticism.
What impact do you think Jake Spavital can have on this offense and Dana Holgorsen kind of going to a more traditional head coach's role?
Well, I think it's big because Jake and Jana have a great relationship. They know each other really well. Also, Jake worked with Joe Wickline, and when they were together, all 3 of them at Oklahoma State, they had a huge offense. And so I know the respect factor is big. I think, look, last year Cal had issues. They weren't on offense. I mean, Jake was a big reason why they got Davis Webb to come in there. I think if those guys aren't there, I think that team is lucky to win 2 games last year. So I think he's going to do really well. He obviously knows the environment. He knows a lot of the staff already. I mean, I thought this was a no-brainer hire for Dana, and you still get Dana's game planning and his expertise on that, and I think you get a guy who knows. I think the dynamic is such where I think Jake can say anything to Dana and vice versa and not worry about it, and sometimes that's a tricky thing because these guys know each other. So I think, that's part of the reason why I think West Virginia is going to be so good on offense, because of that triumvirate now where you got a great O-line coach who's doing his thing, and you got a really, really good quarterbacks guy also. I think Jake's addition is big, as a recruiter. I think it's a lot of times you get a really good offensive coordinator, they're not known as a great recruiter, and you look at some of the guys he's gotten, whether, it's Kevin White to West Virginia or some of the guys he got to A&M or some of the guys he even got to Cal last year.
Overall, in this Big 12 conference, do you see it being a stronger league than it was a year ago, on par, or maybe a little bit of a step backwards?
I think it could be better because you have Baker Mayfield back. You have all the firepower that Mason Rudolph has at Oklahoma State. Now, defensively, I think there's question marks at both places. I think Texas was ready to step up, whether Charlie Stronger's there or Tom Herman's there, because most of the best personnel there were freshmen and sophomores last year. Now they're a little older. I think Texas Tech will be better now on defense. A lot of people are going to go, how they can't be much worse, but I do think they're going to be noticeably better. They do lose Mahomes, but I think the talent around him should be a little better. I look at TCU, I think they should be a little better, and this should be a pretty good year for K-State. It might be the last year for Coach Snyder, but I think a lot of people look at how they finished and some of the players they have coming back, and I think they're a legit top 25 team. So to me, even if you look at the bottom, Kansas is a lot better than they were in the last 2 years. And I think Iowa State is getting better. So I think the league as a whole, Bob Bowlesby said top to bottom, he thinks this is the best conference. I don't know if I think it would go that far, but I think the bottom has gotten better, and I think the top should be every bit as good because those quarterbacks are just great trigger men. And you look at, even a guy like Will coming in there. As productive as Skylar Howard was, Will Greer has a lot more tools to work with, and I think physically is probably on another level from Skylar, and they can do more in the offense with him.
Bruce, thanks so much. I know Morgantown folk always love to hear from you.
Yeah, I always love going there. It's one of my favorite places for a game. I just feel like it's football country. It's a little crazy, and that's really good on a Saturday.